us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
This ain't financial advice, just a little DD to help you think twice. We hold for each other, eyes on the prize. The new floor's 200,000 times 5. I joke, I kid, no, I don't know a damn thing. I'm as simple as Bubba trying to sell some damn shrimp. Can't spell IQ, can't even count to 10. And I eat crayons every day with my friends. I think about Kenny in his ivory tower, shaking in his lily boots as the apes overpower. Must suck to lose to monkeys, so dumb. But you made your bed and you got nowhere to run. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he makes the prize fall. And he watching as we keep on more. You forgot we on the float blind, 2 hours old. Lie, stop breaking the law, asshole.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Yeah, crayon eating Lambo lover, smooth brain, stupid ass. Throwing all my money at the streets like a quarterback. If you D don't mean a thing, water up a dust back. Apes not leaving nothing till we get the money stacks. Monkey see, monkey do, monkey holding till we're blue. Monkey magic coming through us monkeys on the moon. Double digit IQ, tendy loving baboon. Right here we got more smoothies than a jumbo juice. Probably thought you coulda made us sell all the gooder. And hell, we maybe woulda, but we more zen than the Buddha. The floor, 6 figures ain't selling for less. You took on the ape nation and you're fucking with the best. We hold for each other, my sisters and my brothers, the fighters and the lovers. We don't need another fan because we huddle through hard times and struggle. Cause we just a couple of dumps in the rubble.
Show us the fucking money. It's time to lay it on me. Cause what's mine is ours. This shit belongs to the army. Gon' need to see them Benjis. We hungry for them tendies. Give us this day our daily bread. Show us the fucking money.
Moon gang, I'm pretty hungover, if I'm being honest with you. Everyone's being a little loud right now. We're gonna be quiet this morning. A little bit of quietness would be greatly appreciated. It's so loud. Everything is so loud right now. Oh, moon gang. Yeah. All right. Let's do this thing. Everyone, inside voices. Inside library time. So I was in New York last night, and Dave Lauer's in New York last night. I was like, yo, Dave, let's get a couple drinks. And Dave's like, you got it, dude. And we had some sushi, and at said sushi place, we also got a bottle of sake. And Dave's like, I'm good, as we are 2/3 of the way through sake. He's like, I'm good. I have things to do tomorrow. You can have the rest if you want. And I was raised in a household where you let nothing go to waste unless it's food you don't like, such as peas. I wasn't going to let said sake go to waste. So here we are. it also obviously involved getting up at the butt crack of dawn to catch a train back to Philadelphia. Oh, it's going to be a day, folks. We're going to have a day. We are going to have a day. Hey. What happened while I was gone? Did I miss anything yesterday? It looks like things were kind of weird in the morning and then came back to normality. So I had an interview, and as you guys could ascertain, Dave Lauer was also part of said interview. And I don't know if I'm allowed to spill the tea on this, but there's a very well-known person in this community who was also part of said interview. But I don't know if I want to spill the beans on that. But interview went well. I'm told it's not going to come out until like February, so we have a little bit of time to wait on that one, just so everyone knows. But it'll be cool. It'll be fun when it comes out. Let's hop into all the hot stuff going on today. I've had an abnormal amount of time to prepare this morning, so we have a lot of things to actually talk about. Green, gray. So the bonds don't matter, but market's green. Oil up. Oil in general has been coming down for a while. We were sitting in the low 80s. We're now actually at 68. So oil taking a breather, and that's mainly because of the U.S. and other countries dipping into the reserves and not really relying on OPEC in the most general sense. But here's some of the other important things you need to know going on today. So the big thing for the overall market is, I guess, multifold. So, of course, everyone knows about the unicorn that's going around. I believe it's in 5 different states right now. So people are a little wonky about that. But it seems to be like a day of like, oh, we're really scared. And then like a day of we're not scared. Scared, not scared. Scared, not scared. Like we're doing one of those things where it's just literally we're ping-ponging back and forth of like, should we give a shit or should we not give a shit? At least that's how the stock market's reacting to that. And on top of that, obviously, we have to figure out what's going on with the potential government shutdown, but there's some positive developments there. And I guess this is a good time to bring it up. Okay, in terms of the overall market, we completely missed on job growth. They were expecting 573,000 and they got 210,000. That is horrifically off. That's very, 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 very far off. That's over 50% off on this estimate. Job growth disappoints in November with a gain of just 210,000 despite high hopes. They were looking at 573 and that was no bueno. They were like, I mean, this is just, this prediction is like comically far off. And there's another prediction that I want to talk to you about that is comically far off, and it relates to Didi, the Chinese Uber. Let me just play you a little clip right here. Maybe you've heard of this guy before.
I want you in on Didi, D-I-D-I. That's the Chinese version of Uber that's coming public on Wednesday. This company has a stranglehold on China. The ride-sharing market, they own it. They crushed their competitors and then bought them up when they got tired of losing money. That includes Uber China. Didi's also got some really huge backers. Chinese tech giants like Alibaba and Tencent, a Japanese conglomerate like SoftBank, even Apple is in Didi. Finally, based on the proposed price range, which values Didi at around $65 billion, I think the valuation seems eminently reasonable. Now, there are some antitrust concerns here, but as long as they stay on the Communist Party's good side, and I know it's probably hard to do, but as long as they do, I doubt they'll have much trouble with the regulators. So if you want to speculate on a Chinese IPO, you've got my blessing to bet on Didi. I would try to get as many shares as you can. D-I-D-I.
Okay. So as of June 28th, this year, you did have Jim Cramer's blessing to get as many shares as possible of DIDI, the coveted Jim Cramer blessing. Well, let's look into how that played out. DIDI. Okay. So we're going back to June. We have about June 30th. So let's see what would have happened if you got as many shares as you possibly could have with said blessing. You would currently be down 53%. So and actually it's gapping even lower today. So yeah, we're two big misses this morning. We have a huge miss on the job growth, and also Didi is going to be delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, and it will instead be listed on a Hong Kong. So told to purchase it. You had his blessing in June, July, August, September, October, November. 5 months later, you lost 10% on average every month, and it's actually going to get delisted. So there's that. There is that. All right. Moving onward, we talked about the unemployment expected to show continued strong hiring. Well, it didn't. Everyone is wrong this morning. Wrong. FDA prepares for quick review of unicorn. That word that I'm still unaware if I'm allowed to say on YouTube. So you'll have to read it. But it rhymes with vaccine. It rhymes with Maxine. Unicorn Maxine. I'm still very unaware of if I can say that word or not without YouTube like freaking out on me. 5 states in the U.S., including New York and California, confirm unicorns. Minnesota, Colorado, New York, Hawaii, and California are the 5. Cinco. Let's hope that that's the maximum number, and it stays right there. Biden expected to sign short-term government spending bill. So this is what I was alluding to earlier on. So the House had passed it, then the Senate passed it. So now Congress has passed this funding bill that would actually come into effect this weekend. So it is good. This is good. The president is expected to sign it today to kind of kick the can down to the February-ish timeframe is what we're looking for. But obviously the government not shutting down is positive. In terms of other individual stocks, I know we're fans of Nvidia. Like, we like it, obviously, as much as Pelosi does. Nvidia's purchase of ARM looks dead. What comes next? So ARM, Nvidia was going to purchase ARM. It was a $40 billion deal. This is based out of the UK. Huge. It was going to be the biggest semiconductor deal, like, going down in history. But the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, said, honey, not happening. Sued to block the deal Thursday. The FTC just raining on the parade, saying you're not allowed to do that because we don't want you to. So that deal's it's going to be dead. So no longer getting ARM. I remember some of my earliest videos before streaming, like circa 2020, before I knew how to speak properly with a microphone. I remember talking about this deal, like when it was first announced. So that's kind of interesting that it's been going for this long, and still, I guess they're still fighting about it, but now it's like officially dead. But it took over a year to get to this point. In terms of the world of crypto, many cryptos move, like, there's huge gains right now. SHIB's looking good. Matic's looking good. Solana's looking good. Avalanche has been looking good. I just wanted to share this article. Ethereum is about to go parabolic against Bitcoin as analysts weigh BTC bear case. So on TradingView, actually, you can use some of these comparisons. So the ETH BTC chart looks like it's going to have some sort of a breakout. So the relative gain of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, at least according to this authors like / analyst, thinks that Ethereum is about to have a relatively pretty nice gain when compared to Bitcoin. For me, that's cool. I mean, I own both. I want them to both go up. But right now we are seeing, it's kind of been building, but you can feel that there's been some bullish pressure building up in the world of crypto. So that's kind of cool. Speaking of crypto, we know there's the outspoken crypto supporter, Mark Cuban. This has nothing to do with crypto, but I wanted to share it with you. Mark Cuban has bought a 77-acre town in Texas. I myself has fantasized quite a bit of what I would do if I were a billionaire, and I would buy the hometown I grew up in. It's a very small town. I think it's affordable. It's bigger than 77 acres, but I still think it's affordable, and I would totally rename it like Mattsville. I would hijack the high school, and all they would learn about is the market. They would learn about, like, from K through 12, it would just be finance education. I would change the whole curriculum. So I get where he's coming from. At a certain point, you just I guess you need a 77 acre town in south of Dallas. So apparently, and all for whatever reason, it was posted on the Africa version of Business Insider. And on a completely different note, the next two stories have literally nothing to do with finance, but I still want to share it with you. This last night, the Memphis Grizzlies dominated the Oklahoma City Thunder. It actually set an NBA record. I think the discrepancy here is 73 points. This was an NBA record of the differential in a loss. So if you are a fan of Oklahoma City Thunder, that's a bummer. If you like the Grizzlies, your team literally just set a record. And on an additional in no way related to finance whatsoever, Denver, this is the first time on record we have gone into the month of December and Denver does not have snow, and I think it's up to 224 days without snow in Denver. But if you're in Denver, you're living history right now. This has not happened. We set December for a reason, and in Denver you should have snow, but this year, record breaking, it does not. So if you want to be a contributing member to society, I feel like those are three stories you could fit into any of your daily conversations today. I gave you a good sports story, I gave you a good meteorology story, and then I gave you a good farmland billionaire story. So no matter what's going on, if you're sitting there and your boss is yelling at you, maybe you showed up like hungover to work today and you're like, whoa, Tonto, calm down. Did you know that the Grizzlies completely smoked the Thunder last night, beating a record? I'm trying to give you the tools that you could use throughout your day. A lot of people misconstrue my efforts as some sort of finance-based show of what's happening in the world of the market. Tell me more about manipulation. I'd love to hear a rant or two. And I get it. Maybe some of my own actions have made you perceive that that's what this show is about. But in reality, I view myself as, I guess, kind of like a high school guidance counselor. You know how those people probably really didn't do much at all? Well, I want to be like a useful one of those. I'm trying to give you tools to get through the day. And I think those are some three specific tools that you could all use. And if there's any high school guidance counselors listening, I don't mean to particularly offend you. I just didn't personally like mine. I'm sure you're a great one. And I don't mean that facetiously. I just sound like this because my body's organs are waging a war against themselves. All right. Bitcoin, 57,000. It's trying to hold the breakout, trying very, very hard. It's trying its hardest. And I like it, showing some strength. But this kind of brings us back to our conversation of this Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Ethereum actually very, very close to its all-time high previously, like right under 4,800, and we hit 4,870. And Bitcoin just farther off. I'm in both. I'm just watching it. I like that cryptos. It actually seems like Bitcoin, out of all the movement right now, might be the one that's a little bit sleepy. Ethereum's looking strong. Solana's looking strong. Avalanche at 112. Matic. I see a lot of you guys already commenting about Matic. No, technically not a new all-time high, but we are coming up to a new relative high at $2.44. After that, we will be watching $2.82. I am in Matic. I like it. Also known as Polygon. Maybe you've heard about that. Basically a good layer 2 solution to some of the issues that Ethereum currently has. And speaking of which, SHIB is actually having a pretty nice setup. If you look at the smaller time frame, right here, lower highs, higher lows. Let's see if this can hold at 43 and base off of that. But we're getting a little bit of momentum in SHIB, so that'd be cool if it can base, maybe make a push back up to 47.50. So pay attention with SHIB, but we see not specifically Bitcoin, but we do see some other crypto coins and tokens making some nice moves this morning. So worthwhile to pay attention to, but Matic performing very, very well. I don't know when I got into Matic. How do I even figure this out? When did I get in? Let me figure out this number for all of you. Matic. Who that involves some math. Do I feel like doing math? I guess. I got in at, how does math work? This number, nope, divided by, I actually have a story to share with you. I got in at $1.55 about, I'm so grateful that all of you asked, Matt, why are you making fun of your high school guidance counselor? Thank you for asking, friend on the internet. It must have been 9th grade going into 10th grade. You know, sometimes like whatever, your email, like it's just like weird spam attacks, and like this was like big, like around 2010-ish, of like these weird spam attacks where somehow they had your email and they would like send emails from your email, and they were so obviously scam emails. So that happened to my account, like I don't know, like a Yahoo account or something, and it just sent it to all the people I had like recently emailed. Some like crazy, like it was just so obviously like a fake scam account, like not even as good as like, oh, like I'm a Nigerian prince, I need to send you some money, like worse than that. So this one was like I remember it was like a Russian related one, and this is going to be important in the story. So this sent out, and it was, the summer was about to end. I think I was going into 10th grade, and the email had sent to some teachers and also to this guidance counselor. So my teachers right away, they knew. I remember my history teacher and my physics teacher right away. They're like, Matt, your account has a problem. I was like, oh, okay, sorry about that. My guidance counselor, on the other hand, did not realize it, and she thought I was the victim of either a Russian kidnapping or a Russian drug smuggling. Like she thought I got in trouble with like organized Russian crime. And I was 15, living in a farm town in Northeast Pennsylvania. A 15-year-old farm town kid. Somehow she thought it was plausible that I got in trouble with like organized Russian crime. So this is her thought, and she calls up and she calls my mom, and she's like dead serious. She's like, is everything all right with Matthew? I got a very concerning email. And my mom's like, what? Yeah, like he's here. He's working. My mom, she has her business, and I was working there for the summer. She's like, he's here. Like, what's the problem? She's like, I think he might be involved in something that he's not telling you about. And my mom's like, do you have something to tell us? And I was like, what? Like at 15, like, I don't know. What are you talking about? And at this point, the guidance counselor had not like conveyed to my parents what it was even about. Just like check with Matthew to see if he's involved with anything. Like they intentionally kept it vague. And so my parents, like, for a half hour, they're like, just tell us if you did something. I was like, I haven't done shit. Like, what do you want from me? I haven't done anything. I'm ready to go into 11th grade. I'm really going to take this particular class year, like pull by the horns, mom, dad, let's go. High fives all around. I didn't do it. So my mom calls back and she's like, Matthew, he's really saying he didn't do anything. And she's like, can you tell me a little bit about what this is about? And she's like, I have reason to believe that he might be involved in some bad things going on in Russia. And my mom's like, fucking what? You think my 15-year-old son in Farmtown, USA is somehow tied to Russian crime? So needless to say, I wasn't, and it was a spam email, most likely used to just get her email to spam other people. But this was a professional. This is who is supposed to give us guidance. Folks, if you look at me and you're wondering, how does he so eloquently, almost cat-like, walk the tightrope between low self-esteem and narcissism? That's the guidance I was giving. That was the quality of guidance I was given as a youth getting ready to tackle the world. That's the type of advice and human I dealt with. So to the parents out there who maybe 4 out of 7 days when you wake up and you're asking yourself, how do I make sure my kid does not become like Matt? I get it. I'm not saying you're wrong. Please understand. Start with your high school guidance counselor. Ensure that your kid is somehow not a part of organized Russian crime. That's the only advice I could possibly give. Hey, it's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. Man, we've really already gone off the rail today. The market's not even open, folks. 6,000 of you in here to talk to me with about stocks, and now you're learning about all of my, I don't know, the issues in my personality and my personality flaws. Personality flaws. Isn't that funny? Personality flaws. I have personality flaws. Really? It's just such a fun way to say you're an asshole. It's just a flaw. I just can't change it. It's just me. It's my personality. Dude, you're just an asshole. Oh, man. You're just an asshole. Trauma, Matt. It's called trauma. Yeah, not many people survive organized Russian crime the way I did. In Farmville, USA. What's happening today? What is going on with the market? Hey, this is Fridays. Folks, if you're tuning in, Matt is somewhat at my max capacity of being serious Monday to Thursday, but Fridays, it's a different thing. I've noticed that on Fridays, people seem to care a little bit less about the market, so we just try to have fun here. We play some fun music. We talk about, I guess I talk about my life. Folks, I can't afford a therapist, so I just turn to the internet, okay? If I'm being honest, I share it all with you because it's a healthy way for me to cope with my life. I need to tell someone, and I'm not going to go to a therapist, so I'd rather tell thousands of strangers simultaneously through the interwebs and just work through whatever problems I currently have going on. Hey, Matt, can you tell me if your comrades are long? I'm Prague. Thoughts on ARDX? Oh, I forgot my little notepad today. Where is that? All right, ARDX. I need to bring up a different notepad to write this down. ARDX. All right, written down on a digital notepad. This technology would astound my high school guidance counselor. What? Happy Friday, Matt. Please step into my office. To be honest, I think we're all a personality flaw. Did you hear Satama did a deal with Mayweather Promotions? Just thought it was interesting. I haven't, but I'm pretty sure that Mayweather has been kind of tied up with I know this isn't an ICO, but kind of earlier stage cryptos in the past. Am I still holding my Prague? Yes. Yeah, I haven't. What have I don't think I've sold anything lately. My recent purchase was a call option that I'm going to get burned on today for CRM. Where is CRM? Oh, yeah. I'm totally going to get burned on this one today. So that was my most recent active trade. Thoughts on Zillow share buyback? They're also selling their home inventory. Prices fallen from 208 to February to 54 today, up in pre-market. So I think it's actually pretty good. From my understanding and a little bit of studying of the situation with Zillow, it's solid that they are kind of getting out of that home, I guess, ownership business. It's been having problems for sure. So I think they were kind of cutting off, I don't know, let's call it a cancerous aspect of their business. I'll put Zillow on the list so we can do a breakdown of it. We'll do it after the market opens because we have less than 2 minutes, but I wrote that down. We'll check it out, Jeremy. Good question. Thoughts on Prague daily candles. Also, were you hoping it bottomed out if it hasn't yet? I mean, it would be sick if it just bottoms right here because I am in it. It's actually at, well, hang on. It's at support right now. Like yesterday where it closed was previous support, but we have additional support at 234. For me, with Prague, the sooner the better. That's when I want it to bottom out. We could talk about the technicals in a bit, but this is very much a bull flag. This downward channel, 2 parallel lines, a top line, a bottom line. We're looking for that breakout. So we can be watching it. I'm not in any way quitting on Prague, but as stated at the very start, I just think it's an undervalued company. I'm not necessarily in it for a squeeze play. I'm more than mentally prepared to hold on to Prague if that's what I need to do. All right. Matt, where the heck is the Moon Gang neon sign? It's right over here. You know how some guys like know about carpentry and like doing stuff that's like defined as manly, like DIY stuff of like, look at me, I put nails in a wall and hang things up. I've recently found out I'm very, very bad at it. And my particular downfall is finding studs. I have that little stud finder thing and it doesn't beep ever. Folks, it only beeps when I put it on me, but when I put it on the wall, it just does not tell me where studs are. I don't know. The baby boomer generation would be particularly angry at me. Someone said it's called a mirror. Matt, not handy Russian course. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is open. Oh, AMC, go green. IWM, go green. Why don't we see red so early? Stud finders are FUD. I came here just to say F stud finding. All right. Hang on. I'm definitely missing some of these. Okay. ARDX, I wrote that. Thoughts on LGVN. Is that one still making moves? That was, I'll pull up that one. I wrote it down. BIOL. All right. Writing that down as well. I'm building out this list. Keep flying, my friend. Shout out Jacob. Matt, being hungover or still drunk may prompt the moon to launch. Hang in there. Mark, Ulta crushed earnings last night and crushed guidance. Huge price target increases. All right, Ulta, we'll check that out. Drink your liquid IV and take 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. Shout out Kinky Kong, always hopping in with the best advice. Dead bro, I'm dead. You guys are so kind this morning. Matt, do you find a problem with running puts on manipulated plays and why? If you think something's a pump and dump, if you think the pump's over, that's a money-making opportunity. Like, I guess I don't know if you mean like morally or technically, but even if you mean morally or technically, I don't think I have an issue either way. I mean, that's, hey, if you're in the market, you're in the market to make money. And if you find something that's being manipulated and you want to make money off of it, as in like, I believe you're alluding to a pump and dump. If you think it's a pump dump and you think the pump part's over and you want to play the dump to help your P&L, I see nothing morally or technically wrong with that. I know people who exclusively try to short pump and dump penny stocks. They wait for penny stocks to get pumped. They figure out what's going on. And when then they're confident that the pump's over, they short those penny stocks because it was just a pumped penny stock. With that being said, my like word of caution there is be confident that the pump's over. You don't want to get caught in potentially a squeeze of any sort. All right. AMC and GME showing a little bit of life. The Russell turning around, SPY turning around. Docu is down 34%. Yeah, so DocuSign is down quite a bit because they really missed on earnings and they lowered guidance. Trouble finding subs, kind of like your totally real girlfriend. LO, thanks for what you do. Shout out, Roy. Studs are every 16 inches, but doubled near doors. You know, that's exactly what my dad said to me. Is this just like a well-known dad fact? Seriously. All the non-dads, if you could just shut your eyes for a second, and like then the dads, could you just let me know? Is there like a secret dad meeting that you guys talk about this together? Like just like random facts of like, hey, just so you know, like studs are every 16 inches apart. And you're like, thanks, Roy. Really digging the New Balance. See you at the barbecue this weekend. Is that what happens? And like, then Roy, he's like, he's standing by his buddy Steve, and Steve's like, don't forget those studs are doubled near doors. Is that like, fuck, man? Like, sick New Balance. That garden didn't stand a chance. That lawn, you really manicured the shit out of that lawn and garden. Home Depot saw you. Wouldn't that be kind of cool if right now we are seeing, this is a new idea. Please no one steal it. I just like to really flesh out my ideas out loud. I will be very, very mad if one of you steals this from me. My newest idea. This is probably my first $1 billion idea. I've had many multi-million dollar ideas, but make sure your socks are secured because I'm about to knock them off. With the advance in technology across the board, technology is just increasing. Why can we not retrofit New Balance sneakers with like your Home Depot and or Lowe's membership card? Like as soon as you walk in, like the technology would be in the shoe itself. Like the shoe, the dad, and the membership to the DIY business is all in one. That would be like, you don't need the card anymore. You don't have to be like, hey, my name's Roy. I've been a member since 2014. You don't have to do that. You would just like, you would like just show, you like pull up your like worn jeans, like you'd show your shoe and it'd be like kind of like right there. It would just like scan your shoe. I don't know. Let's flesh that out. Someone take that to the drawing board. I think there's something. I think there's something there. I think there's something very useful there. Dude, talk about stocks. Well, you want to talk about stocks? We could talk about stocks. Let's talk about stocks. Let's talk about the stock market. Everyone in a position of power is fucking us. Everyone across the board, the Federal Reserve, politicians, regulators, Wall Street, market makers, everyone that has a goddamn ounce of power is for some reason an insidious douchebag. Insider trading by politicians, insider trading by the Federal Reserve. We have copious amounts of federal judges trading the equities of stocks as they're presiding over those cases. We have some ding dong who's the Federal Reserve who, for his only reason to possibly keep his job, was I'm going to print like a metric fuck ton of money out of thin air just so I can get this position again because the presidency went from Republican to Democrat. I was put in there by the Republican. I really like my paycheck. I like my modicum of power. So I'm going to do whatever I can to not rock the ship so I can get my position once again. I'm, in fact, going to create 40% of all money, of USD money in existence from May of 2020 to May of 2021. In 1 year, 40% of all money in supply was made in that 12-month span. all for some dude to continue to get his bi-weekly paycheck from the government. That's just on the political side. Then the regulation side, who should be watching all those people? They're paid by the people who they're supposed to be watching. Does no one see that issue, folks? You're paid by the person you're supposed to watch. You're not going to watch the person you're supposed to watch. It doesn't make sense. The SEC gets their funding from the government. How do we ever expect them to watch the government? That doesn't make sense. We live in Looney Tunes land. And then don't even get me started on Wall Street. Those fucking crooks. I was just up there. I was just in New York and I feel dirty. Folks, I've taken 2 showers and I still feel dirty because I was in the vicinity of those douchebags. I physically feel like there's a layer of just douche film on me right now. And I have Dawn dish soap because it's good enough for ducks and it helps in oil spills. I have serious concerns if my Dawn dish soap will be enough to get this new form, this chemically questionable film off of me right now. I've called them. I've called the leading chemists of the world and I was like, we have a fucking doozy this morning. We gotta work on this. And they're like, what happened? I was like, I was just in New York. They're like, what part? I was like, the financial district. And they're like, get Greg on the line. Greg, we have another. I heard they're screaming in the background. Everyone's crying. I heard someone's mother was breaking down. They didn't know what was going on. And I was like, I need this off of me. And it was a debacle. A debacle with a capital D from the onset of all of this bullshit. So I'm there and I'm thinking as I'm like wallowing away in the mental abyss that is my mental state. And I was actually just like really, really thinking about particularly Ken Griffin because he was on like a Clubhouse call, which who the fuck uses Clubhouse anymore? And then I was just thinking about like how big of a douchebag he is. Like seriously, to sit there. At what point are you? He's smart. Ken Griffin's smart. You can't argue he's not smart. You can argue he's immoral, but if you say he's dumb, that's just, it's not a proper descriptor of what's going on. And he's a smart cookie, and he's a rich cookie, and apparently he started his company like in his dorm room in Harvard. And in terms of being a businessman, he grew a very successful business. But at what point, when you know what you're doing is detrimental to Wall Street and the stock market, are you like, okay, I think I have enough mansions? Like he's doing this all and it's gonna take a time. Like our stock market is as if it's addicted to Citadel. Like let me put it this way. I think this is an analogy we could all get on board with. If Ken Griffin did an ayahuasca trip this weekend, if he got on his plane, flew down to Peru, met with a shaman, did some ayahuasca, realigned his brain chemistry, and he decided, hey, I should not do this anymore, that wouldn't be good. The stock market's pretty much addicted to Citadel. Citadel cannot just disappear. Like we need to slowly but surely like wean ourselves off of it. And that's crazy that we're in that situation, that our stock market is dependent on like one entity of like a salamander man. Like that's crazy. And then I sit here and media says their shit and like the apes are stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. How could they possibly know? North Korea doesn't have payment for order flow. Why would we want to be like North Korea? Like, what? How? I feel as if I'm being gaslit every single day, folks. Every single day, by like just like the insanity of what's going on. If you don't laugh at it, you're gonna cry, so we might as well all just laugh. Oh, at least it makes us feel better when things are kind of red right now. Let's where's this bounce gonna come? This is kind of what happened yesterday. A very early morning pop, followed by a red sell-off, and then it kind of popped and ended up being neutral. So are we just gonna repeat yesterday? What else is moving? Heatherly, what's going on? Matt coming soon to Coors Light. Matt Rand coming soon to a Coors Light near you. Oh man. Matt, have you been injected with the government's experimental juice? Just curious, I haven't, but that's because of my own personal reasons. I'm glad you got to this point. They're all in on it, and the common denominator is greed. As long as they're just getting rich, it won't change. Fundware will destroy the tyranny of big tech and drain the swamp in Wall Street. Randall, next billionaire overlords. You know, I heard that Rumble is about to go public, folks. So for everyone watching on Rumble, just know that you are part of an apparatus that will soon be publicly traded. So shout out to all the Royal Rumblers there. And if you're on Twitch, I mean, you're kind of already public through Amazon. And if you're on YouTube, you're already public through Google. But Rumble, joining the party. The ticker for that is CFVI. So if anyone's looking in for an investment into a competitive video platform against like kind of like if you're looking to invest in a anti-big tech move, you might want to check out CFVI. I don't own any. I have no equity. I wish I did. Maybe I'll buy some. But I don't have any right now. What are... Charles, you just like quoted a law to me or like some Supreme Court thing from 1803. Am I supposed to know that? Is that test today? I'll pay just for that random dropping some truth bombs. I bought CFVI yesterday already. Brambles, big supporter. What about the Rothschilds family? There is a rumor they own 3.5 billion of circulating XRP token. Do you know the history of the Rothschild? I know that they own, like, they're the family in control of the biggest bank in the world, or is it just the biggest bank in the UK? Very, very rich, powerful family related to banking is the Rothschild. There's also, the only reason I know this is because I was watching some sort of like entrepreneurship like lecture or whatever, and there was this Rothschild kid who's like I come from a pretty wealthy family, but like I want to show that I can make it by myself, so I'm making my own clothing brand for like affordable people, like affordable clothes for normal people. And then I looked at his clothing brand and it was selling t-shirts for like $300, and I was like, you think that's what normal people buy? And that's just one of the Rothschild. Like, they're a very powerful, dominant family. But I thought that was kind of humorous. He's like, I just want affordable stuff. And it was not at all. At all. What else do we have? Do I know what happened to Coinbase stock? No, what's going on with Coinbase? I thought it's been doing well lately. Appears to be continuing this sell-off. I don't know if there's like a particular event with it. I haven't seen any major news on Coinbase. Someone just said Zuckerberg is a Rothschild. Is that true, or are we just spreading technology? Or technology? Are we spreading false information, and my technology is going to accidentally unalive me later because Mark's listening in? Mark and Mr. Bezos, please understand that these are not my own opinions. These are the opinions of my viewers. and you should take your anger out accordingly, not on me. Not like jokingly, like I mean this actually very earnestly, very seriously. Do you think that big tech's like listening to us like on everything? Obviously YouTube's listening to me right now, but I'm saying like in general, when you're just there like with your spouse or your kids or something, like what's your confidence level that they're recording everything and just like storing it and selling like every piece of data related to your life? First thing I read was they are all criminals. An intern is 100%. We're getting like people are without it just like, oh, they're doing it. They're take a look at DocuSign stock today, ticker DOCU. What's going on with it? It got hit because its earnings sucked. DOCU, and it also doesn't help that it happened to report a bad earnings, horrible earnings. So it's all about guidance. It's all about it was saying its future guidance. It's not looking good. That's basically what came out of its earnings. So that's kind of problematic, and it also doesn't help that it was on a day where many things are like the SPY selling off, IWM selling off. How are the Qs looking? The Qs are selling off as well. It's another day of a red market. Apparently going after Citadel's LinkedIn is a new fad. Actually funny to look at their wall. Lots of people voicing concern over their money. Oh, I didn't know that was the thing. I don't think they want to look at my camera. I hair dried quite a bit. North Korea doesn't have a QAnon shaman on the Senate floor making horn noises. Why would we want to be like North Korea? Do hedgies know they have a tiger by the tail? Shout out James. We are a very random idea discussion family, and everything we talk about, Google posts ads to our phones shortly after. Yeah, that's kind of weird. 100% no joke. Since I started watching you, I get ads every day for tulip festivals and cheese. Cheese, it's not joking. Like freaking way too many ads. Why are you getting all these tulip ads? Because I listen to that duck kid on YouTube. Why is everything is so red right now? I'm not trying to make light of this situation. I guess sometimes comedy is a nice levity. But everything is selling. Everything is selling. Let's look at some daily charts. So it got rejected at 460. But also yesterday, the open and the close were both, it's like now weirdly in this range between 453 and 460, really 450 and 460. So it's selling off, but keep in mind that, like, I guess relative to the past 4 days, we've kind of been here. We're not making a new low. Same with the Qs, kind of where we've been at the past 2 days. The Russell, on the other hand, same thing for the past 4 days, but the Russell has been a little bit more extreme ever since the 8th. The Qs and the SPY holding up better. This is noteworthy probably to a lot of you watching right now because AMC is the biggest equity. It has the most exposure in the Russell 2000. It's the biggest stock within it. So when there is this amount of notable downward continuous selling in the Russell, that's obviously going to be damaging to AMC. On top of that, when we are hearing more about a new unicorn strand and we don't know if it's going to shut things down or not, that could also obviously be very problematic to the movie going experience. Rivian 105. I still think this is going down to 100. Nvidia, even though the ARM deal not going through, it's still holding up. I mean, it's trading at 315. The high was 346. Nvidia holding. Robinhood, ding, ding, ding. New all-time low on Robinhood. Xmas shopping. What's going on, Brendan? Look up the NSA data facility in Bluffdale, Utah. I'm afraid to Google this. Like, will a SWAT team come in here? I need to know. Wait a minute. Why is my color scheme not colors best? Why doesn't it save like that? It should be. I try to make them all the same for my people who want all the same color. What's the difference between Tiblio and unusual whales? So highest level, they both relate to mainly the options market. Unusual whales has some other things going on, but they're all trying to look at, excuse me, trying to help to give you data in the world of options to make better options-based decisions. So Tiblio is kind of continually scanning in the background of things that it thinks interesting, and it's kind of always looking at the money calls for 30 days out. So a little bit of a different flavor, and I guess in a certain sense that's kind of related to some of the alerts you can get on unusual whales, similar to that. But I also like to check the flow additionally on unusual whales. You can see where the money is being bet on like the particular ones. So a little bit different, like I guess really algorithms in the background and how they choose to present the data to you. I end up using them both, obviously. GREE filed an SEC 8K. What does that mean? Oh, that's just like a common filing. Like you'll have to read the 8K to see what it's about. But you can, if you see that, like it's going to be there on the SEC's website or probably on GRE's website as well. So you could probably track it down and see like what's in it. I really think you should dig deep and study the Rothschild family. Did you know they were one of the families that founded the Federal Reserve Bank? I did not, but oddly enough, a little bit ago, I was doing some research on the Federal Reserve. So the concept of a central bank, a lot of your average everyday American has no idea what that means. Like what you're like, oh, okay, I've heard that. And it's one of these things that when we first came over here and America was being built out, everyone knew what it meant because there's very similar like systems and I guess establishments over in Europe. So people were much more familiar with it, and they were familiar with it to the point that they're like, we totally don't want that, so don't. And like many things in life, if the government wants something and your public knows about it, you just need to wait for your public to forget about it. So they waited and a couple generations come, couple generations go, and all of a sudden this well-informed public, when it comes to the world of a Federal Reserve or a Federal Reserve-like entity, the U.S. public forgot about it. They didn't know what it was. And this is how shisty this bullshit is. The vote that approved having a Federal Reserve was one of these ones that was done at midnight. It was literally done in the middle of the night to get this through. That's how like sketchy this type of crap is. It was like one of these things. It wasn't like, oh, well, no, we're voting on this and everyone can talk. It was done like very surreptitiously. That could be our word of the day if you guys want it to be. But classic, like middle of the night, let's vote. Let's hope people don't notice that what we just did. And that is what made the Federal Reserve. And if you really fast forward, that's what presented us with being given the opportunity to be gaslit about the definition of transitory. So it's kind of funny, like a little butterfly effect type of a thing. But yeah, one middle of the night vote, fast forward, whatever, like 100+ years. And that's directly what led to the world public and the U.S. public being gaslit about the definition of transitory. So that's how life all fits together. Twitter, Jack going to work on Bitcoin full time. I saw something about that and I just didn't know if it was like fake news or not. Sorry, I didn't want to like go on. But Jack Dorsey, something about Bitcoin. But like, I didn't know if it was still through Square. I saw a little bit. PPSI showing a not announced for short interest on Fintel. Any chance you can check or text or give a better understanding of why? Keep up the awesomeness, Duckman. Richard, that's so kind. Let me look up PPSI or text. Pioneer Power Solutions. It also says NA on Ortex. So both on Fintel and Ortex, it must just be kind of like a lower float, not as popular, not well known equity if like neither of these data providers have any of that information on it. It was established during Christmas time when a lot of Congress was absent. The Fed is unconstitutional. Yeah, like that's the kind of like this crazy shit's always been going on. Why would you want to be like North Korea? Brendan. Black. T. Oh, Brendan. If I dump my stock that has 40% loss on it, will those losses be realized before the end of the year? I am no tax expert or professional. In my personal experience, yes. It would be on the date of your closing trade. Well, the two important dates are your opening trade and your closing trade. So if you close it, it is December 3rd. So that would count for this like calendar year's worth of taxes. But please double check that with a certified public accountant or someone who knows more about stock or taxes than I do. Probably knows more about stocks than I do as well. North Korea doesn't have grow your own Obama and Chia pets on QVC at 3 a.m. Why would we want to be like North Korea? Do you use VWAP to dictate any of your trading strategies? And if so, can you walk us through your process in utilizing VWAP in your strategy? If you want, I can make VWAP like the technical teaching session of this afternoon session. So over the past week or two in the afternoon power hour, we've been teaching like one distinct technical concept. We've done the alligator indicator, we've done MACD, we've done RSI. So Boondock, if you want, we could do VWAP today. VWAP is actually like a pretty quick one, so we might be able to fit two of them in. But high level VWAP, volume weighted average price, it just kind of tells you for whatever time frame you're in where the average person is in at, like their price. So if you're above it, it's considered to be a little bit more bullish. Below it, it's considered to be a bit more bearish. It can act as support and resistance. Circa 2017, it was a it's still a very popular technical indicator, but it seemed like in 2017 that was like the only indicator people cared about. They're like, but where's the VWAP? We need more VWAP. Still popular, but not as popular as it was in 2017. Teach us how to FediWAP. Any thoughts on MTTR? And by the way, only way to get rid of douche film is to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. MTTR. Why is everything so red? MTTR, Matterport, also just getting hit like everything else in the market, but it does have support at 26, so you could pay attention to that. I know you're probably particularly feeling pain in AMC and GME, but please understand that this is in no means specific to AMC and GME. Look at how all four of these charts look the same right now. This is a market sell-off. Hopefully it doesn't last long, but don't think that this is specific to those two moon stocks. Right now, the market's getting beat up. This is like that kid and never back down when he first got to Florida. Like, he thought he was the hot shot high school football player who threw like one punch and knew how to fight. And then that kid in Florida actually knew how to fight, and he like beat the shit out of him at that party because he like looked at his girlfriend. He's like, hey, he didn't actually say that. He like just looked at her. And then that guy, who is obviously a sociopath, didn't like that. So he fought him at his party and he beat the shit out of him. The way his face looked, that's how the market looks right now. So to many of you in here, you'll be like, what are you talking about? I've never seen Never Back Down. But to the like 1% of you in here who you're like, I like that movie. I like the Headstrong soundtrack. You're welcome. Are you a CO? Matt Kohrs, are you a CO? A CO? A corrections officer? Matt, are you a CO? No. A commanding officer? Yeah, I know. Everyone looks at me and they're like, that's the kind of guy who's probably a commanding officer at night. I get that a lot. Same with corrections officer. Man, just something about me. They're like, that is like one stern, stoic dude who's going to help me turn my life around. Are you a convection oven? CO, cheese and onion. I'm finally part of the 1%. Best day ever. What's going on, Brian? AGC GRABWTH happened. Look good yesterday and then dump. Please give your opinion. Okay. Alrighty. GRAB. Whoa. It's a financial conglomerate. So they must have had the announcement of who they were going to be absorbing back at the end of last year, and I guess people no longer are feeling it. They're just no longer vibing with it, you know? Like, they're no longer mopping up its spill. This acquisition, it sounds like what, they acquired AGC, I guess, or is there a merger? Or it's a blank check company if it's a financial conglomerate, so I guess people are just not liking the deal that's going through. But on top of that, even if they don't like it, it's being, I guess, multiplied by just the redness in the overall market. Like, it's the only thing that I see is green right now is Matic. This is the only thing that's green. The one Hex is also green. Hex and Matic. Everything else is red. This is a bloodbath. Stock because of GYEN. Hang on, let me look up if there's any Coinbase news. News. Kathy Wood trims $5 million in Coinbase and loads up on this stock. That's the most recent news I see on Coinbase. I think she doubled down on Robinhood, which is insane. What else did she buy? What else did she buy? She bought Zoom. I guess she thinks the world might get locked up again, perhaps. Zoom. I don't know. I was a big fan of her. I thought she was a pioneer, especially for dominant women within Wall Street, which is definitely somewhat of a rarity. But she's making it hard for me to support her with her purchasing of Robinhood and her doubling down of Robinhood. So kind of a bummer. She was supposed to have potential. Everyone's selling off a little for Xmas shopping this weekend. Relax, everyone. North Korea doesn't shop for Xmas or let everyone relax. Never Back Down had the best training montage. Red jumpsuit apparatus slaps. Shout out Easy E. Boycott the hood. Oh, folks. Well, hang on. I don't know which one I want to share first. So I recently watched a documentary about mountaineering, and I would like to share some of my thoughts on that because I think many of the battles that we're going through as a community is symbolic to a lot of the challenges that mountaineers face. And when I say I recently watched it, I watched it at 3 a.m. this morning because I was up, because I have anxiety. Let's try this with a little.
I was up at 3 in the morning because I have anxiety. All right.
Well, so we have that story, but we also have the story of, this is kind of cool. I highly recommend checking out this Dave Lauer tweet. It relates to public, and it's kind of a cool Medium post about some of the information on how them avoiding payment for order flow has actually improved their price execution. Very, very interesting. You can find it on this Dave Lauer. I retweeted it, so you could go to my profile, but it's an interesting read. Public's rocking it. They don't do payment for order flow. You can get the details of what is going on in their metrics, but basically the takeaway is they're being absurdly transparent, and I'm happy to support them. If you want to get on Public, it's not pinned to the top of chat. It's somewhere. You can find it. That's up to you. Wow. Why is everything so red? PTPI is cheap and it's on a run. PTPI. It's looking good. It's up 14% today. Petros Pharmaceuticals. Petros. I wonder, from a technical perspective, I'm going to ignore the sector that it's in. I do like this bend back around. You have well-established risk at 220, so you're risking 70 cents. About what? 27-ish%, I think, if I'm doing that math correctly. So a little bit of a wider risk, so maybe not like the biggest bet in the world in terms of like a risk-reward setup, but it is showing some strength on a notably red day. Can you check out Disney? I'm thinking about getting some Disney. Disney. Why do I have a support there? Oh. Resistance, some consolidation, a breakdown, some resistance, consolidation, some support. So yeah, very much paying attention to the support at 140. I would play this line. If you like it, play it as close to 141 as you can. If it breaks down, you cut it for a baby loss. And if it breaks down from there, honestly, you might see more downside to 134 or potentially the gap fill to 128. But the action line, the go fish line is at 141. You're using that as your support or resistance for whatever direction you want to play it. The closer to that level that you can play it, the better your risk reward is going to be. So it's so red. It's so, turn the markets off. We need like a holiday or some stop. Turn the markets off. Unicorns found to be more transmissible. That's breaking news, driving everything down right now. You know what they say. Less present than my... Wait. Serotonin reuptake inhibitors. That one was a joke for all my biology students out there. I'm sure you're slapping your knee right now. I'm trying to find this news. I don't want to be spreading any false news about unicorns because YouTube won't like that. More transmissible. Let me see if I can find this. I thought it took longer to get this data. So according to AlJazeera.com, the World Health Organization chief scientist says unicorn more transmissible. Ooh. The WHO chief scientist, some name that I can't pronounce, my apologies, had urged people not to panic over the emergence of the unicorn Rona switch up and said it was too early to say if Rona 19 would have to be modified to fight it. Key developments. A United Kingdom study has found mRNA vaccines provide the biggest booster effect. Belgium tightens curbs but avoids lockdowns as Rona cases peak. The checks to order Rona 19 for senior citizens, some professions. Scottish government says the unicorn cases expect to rise. Everyone, please be healthy and safe. Do what you feel is best for yourself and your family. But it seems like those fears, I mean, that's what this week has been. A good day, a bad day. A good day, a bad day. Bad day, good day, bad day. We're just ping-ponging back and forth. Unicorn is more transmissible but less severe. I like that. I like whoever said that, looking for the silver lining. I think that's a good mindset that we all need to have. Why are the markets red today? Because of the unicorns. It does seem to be that way in terms of everything getting hit to this degree. The Qs are down 1.24%. Russell 2000 is down 1.25%. For everything to be in such a bloodbath scenario, my thoughts would be that it is people reacting to unicorns. Definitely, at least, maybe it's not exclusively the reason, but it's definitely going to be playing part. Hot tea plus bourbon. What's going on, Jason? Wait, Kinky Kong, I read your... Did I miss one of your in-between messages? You were like one of the first... Yeah, and PTPI. Kinky Kong, we went over that. I was saying that PTPI, I liked like the cup, like the setup on it. I'm not the biggest fan of the pharmaceutical industry, but I liked how it was bending back around, and the risk was, I think I said roughly about 27% away, so it's kind of a large risk, as in the most recent relative low. So I would, if I liked it, I would say it was a bit of a smaller bet, but for me, that risk is like a bit too high. Matto. I like it. But Kinky Kong, if your question had nothing to do with like if I saw your previous messages or not, like if you're just generically asking if you're invisible, I don't think so. I would suggest taking a picture of yourself in a mirror, but if you don't see yourself, you might be invisible, but you also can't rule out being a vampire. A lot of people who think they're invisible like accidentally do that. They take a picture of themselves in a mirror and they're like, see, I am invisible, when in fact they're not invisible. They're just a vampire. that is very important for everyone to know. So if I had $1 for every time I like saw someone make that mistake, I'd be able to buy the whole float of AMC. I've been unsubscribed by YouTube. Yeah, YouTube and I are not getting along lately. A lot of people have been unsubscribed. So, hey, quick reminder. If you want to be subscribed to the chaos that is my brain, hit that red button. If you're on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're on Rumble, hit that subscribe button. Liking, subscribing, following, it's all completely free. It helps me a lot, not only in terms of the algorithm, but also it's like really wrapped up with my self-worth. So it's kind of a twofer. Like, hey, I can help Matt not only for his algorithm, but potentially his like mental health as well. I put a emphasis, an asterisk, a star on potential, because when it comes to mental health, who knows what's going on. But yeah, check that, because YouTube swears, they're like, no, seriously, we don't unsubscribe people. And I was like, but you do. And they're like, no, we don't. No, seriously, man, we don't. A variant reported to show mild symptoms may not be a bad thing. Wouldn't it help build overall antibodies with little risk to people? I don't know. I'm not an infectious disease expert. Nick, I'm so mad at myself for forgetting you were on. I felt like I cheated on you. Please forgive me, Mark. Can I check Archer Aviation? It's an electric aviation taxi. Archer Aviation. Just started trading, and its illustrious debut was not so shiny, not so glistening. It opened up at $9.90 and currently trading at $6.21. I'm seeing a lot of South. Excuse me, my apologies. This is why I'm never invited to go on Kelly Ripa, because she would never do that. I'm just not a professional. Seeing a lot of southward action. You might have your first new relative high back here on the 24th relative to the 27th. You would want to see that confirmation of it actually getting above this double top, potentially kind of triple-ish top right now at the high sixes, right around 7. You want to see it break there. It could be a cup and a handle. It could be an inverse shoulder, head, shoulder. But I would want to see a little bit more demand. Days to cover on AMC. I'm liking it. DTC. What is the DTC? 2 days, 2.8 days. I like that. I like when it's above 1, but please remember that's just basing it on the average volume relative to the shares on loan. So in the event of a squeeze, you typically have considerably higher volume. So days to cover, I like using a shorter time frame. I think it's more accurate, but typically it's kind of like overstating it because it's using average volume over the past 2 weeks or whatever time frame you're on. And remember, in the event of a squeeze, you see considerably higher volume. Whales use negative news to dump market, cause fear. Yeah, it very quickly becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because people panic. They don't know what's going on. So they see red, so they sell. Like it very quickly becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe it's Marge calling, collectively selling off to raise capital to meet requirements in a sea of red. Remember, ducks float above all. I'm sure some people are. I don't know if I necessarily believe that like a lot of big players are. Of course they could be. I think that would be like newsworthy. Back when something like that happened with like Archegos, or I hope I'm pronouncing it right. That's a Greek word, and I'm not the best at Greek pronunciations, but it was like newsworthy when like these big funds get margin called. This could be just people selling off in fear. It could be a handful of like many little guys getting margin called. Whatever, I guess the reasoning is, it's still there's pressure on the market. Like there's just people are selling. This market, like the 1990s bubble, I don't know. I wasn't like, I don't know. I was pretty young in the 1990s bubble. I think the bubble popped when I was 5. I have been trading for a bit, but I was not trading at 5. So I would need to do a little bit more of my own history research on that one. If you are into NFT and games, you may want to check Uplift. It's a Minecraft server where you can buy lots. Anxiety, go on. You've been there for us. Maybe let us return the favor. Newfound scrutiny, markets. The red thing is self-explanatory. What am I anxious about in my life? I was pretty anxious about the interview yesterday. Obviously, I always want to perform well when echoing and megaphoning the voice of the ape. So I found that to be particularly stressful, especially with my voice not sounding like normal Mateo. Yes, the markets are extremely stressful, but you knew that. You said that one was self-explanatory. And also just like the life of a content creator, it's always stressful because the way social media sets up their platforms is if you're not always doing better, like they prominently show you those metrics that you suck. Like I log into my YouTube studio. That's how you get like a live stream and everything going, and you see your metrics. And it's not exactly this, but it's like along the same lines of you log into it, and when you're not beating your previous month, they're like, are you stupid? Like that's basically what Susan from YouTube, it feels as if she's like texting me all hours of the night. She's like, you suck, you're stupid, why are you even on my platform? It's not to that degree, but it feels like it's actually heading there. And that's just the start of it. You know those memes of when people show like a service animal that's like freaked out, and then that's the joke. It's like my service animal after I like told it all my problems. That meme like really hits home for me. All right. What else do we have? If you just swap the colors of the candles and everything is green, have a great Green Friday, Lord Thickums. Yeah, I do think it's rude that Susan texts me those things. She's like, I shit you not. Susan texts me, thought you were supposed to have potential. And then I don't respond because that's rude. And then like an hour later, this all happens in the middle of the night. She just says, ... guess not. I'm like, oh. But yeah, no, that's a true story. You can share that at Christmas parties if you want. All right, I just want to make sure I didn't miss any of these. Rothschild. My big corp banking employer is removing social distancing in a major office this weekend. Not worried about the unicorn. Shout out Vanessa. Not worried about the unicorn. Can we all admit most experts and professionals in our lives gaslight us? It's truly disgusting and enrages me. Right there with you. Bro, her name is Susan. Isn't that what I said? Oh, dear God, I've never seen a performer that switches to Twitch that doesn't hit depression super quick. All arbitrary figures to define self-worth. I was going to make a joke, but that was... less people would get that one than they got the Never Back Down reference. So, never mind. Never mind. No, it's Karen. Should I sell my portfolio of blue chips? Joshua, should you sell your portfolio of blue chips? I have a hefty blue chip portfolio, like more my long-term one, and it has literally not crossed my mind to sell it. I'm kind of using February to March of 2020 as like my measuring stick of sorts. That was much more severe. We had no vaccine. We had no idea of what the hell was going on. So I'm using that as the extremes example. So whatever is going on right now, I think it's going to be less awful than what we saw in February, March of 2020. And for those people who ended up panicking in that time frame and they got out of the market, they missed out on a lot of gains. And I don't want to do that. Timing the market is extraordinarily difficult. Most gains in a portfolio throughout like a year is most of those gains actually are attributed to less than 50 trade-in days, which is kind of a weird metric. I don't know why that stuck with me. I either read it in a book or made it up on the spot, so take it or leave it. But basically the gist of it is this, that your overall gains usually come from like any individual equity less than 50 specific trading days. Other than that, it's a bunch of chop and like sideways crap. So you want to be in for those times. You don't want to be like on the sidelines trying to time this, trying to time that. 95% of people who actively trade, day traders, end up losing money. You can be a very, very successful day trader, but they're few and far between. It's a very difficult skill set. It takes a lot of time to develop. Is it possible? Yes. But most people, unless you have the time in your life to like dedicate to it, most people are better off. You just get in. If you still like it, you get in on additional weakness. You target support as close as you can, and you just hold. Most people, that it's for the general public, that's closer to being a winning recipe rather than like out of the gate trying to actively trade and time things. Oh, speaking of other facts. So the previous fact I said, it either is or it isn't true. I don't know. 50-50. You know, two facts that are true. This one is going to blow your mind. The amount of people older than you never increases. And car keys travel more distance than cars, which is also nuts. So let those two things sink in. Your car keys travel a further distance, technically a farther distance if we want to be grammatically correct, a farther distance than your car. Car keys travel more than your car. And the amount of people older than you never increases. So calls on DraftKings for March, falling knife. Wait, DraftKings, it's catching a falling knife, so I'm not sure how crazy I am about buying calls right now. But in terms of an investment, I've been particularly looking at 28. 28. So we're about $2 away, but DraftKings, I view it, I mean, it's coming down from a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. Like this is a classic bearish setup, but I in their most recent earnings announcement on November 5th, they said, yeah, the quarter sucked. It's selling off, but they also, their guidance for 2022 was that it's going to be good. So honestly, the further it goes down, that just means the more I'm going to be able to buy on DraftKings. I don't know if it's necessarily going to bounce back by March. That's kind of tough, but I like DraftKings. I think of DraftKings and Penn the same as I do like Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft. I like the sectors. I'll buy on weakness and just sit on the shares. Curious what you think about the lawsuit and possible price target after the lawsuit. So I know there's actually been recently some development on the lawsuit with XRP, and I know XRP also has a very passionate fan base. So in terms of the fan base and the supporter base, I'm a fan of it. I kind of like the project. I like what it's trying to do. The lawsuit, it's hard for me to comment on because I have my legal knowledge stops like halfway through that show Suits. I didn't even make it through the whole like series. So unfortunately, in the first like 4 seasons of Suits, they didn't really cover that. So I don't know if I can like accurately speak on it. The things I've read online, it seems like, I guess the suit is like somewhat like leaning towards like Ripple, but also that's like just random chatter that I've read online. I don't know. I don't even know how I would possibly like weigh that in. There would be a considerable spike on legitimate value increase and also just enthusiasm if they win the lawsuit. But will they win the lawsuit? Maybe I'm being optimistic. I think they will, but I don't know about it. Thoughts on blocky Doge NFT, Doge PFP made by Dogecoin creator himself, Billy Marcus, limited to 100 for OG collection and 1,000 for guilds. I mean, if it gets a lot of notoriety, like it seems like that seems to be the game of NFTs, is if they're like very well known, they can gain a lot of value. The only ones I have doing right now, I'm not good at NFTs. Where is this? OpenSea? OpenSea. Profile. Log. What's my password? Duck guy. Nope. Yep. Duck guy 69. Okay. These are mine. These two, I'm continually getting offers on. How much did I pay for these? History. So I bought this one for 0.65. That's me. And I just got an offer for 1 ETH. And then the same thing with this one, 0.61. So I'm up 0.39 plus 0.35. So what's that? 0.74, something like that. So I'm almost up 1 ETH on these. But this is tied to gambling apes. I've recently heard that these League of Sacred Devils might be a complete scam. So I have no faith in these whatsoever. But these ones, if you own it, I think you get equity ownership within a casino that's supposed to be built in the metaverse. And the group who's running it, the Gambling Apes, recently got approval for said casino. And that's why these offers are starting to come in higher and higher. So these two are higher. All the other ones, I think I've lost money on. That's life, folks. You know which bit of Korea never has an increasing number of old people? That's right, not the South one. Is that what you want? People older than you never increases? What, just like in your apartment? So anyway, coming back to the blocky Doge NFT, it depends on how like stoked people are about it. You know who listens to Susan's appraisal of their potential? This is all conspiracy by aliens. They're taking over by dropping the market. What's out? Bam, bam. Meta. Someone's asking about Meta. Metaverse ETF. Roundhill Ball Metaverse ETF. All right, let's see what's in that particular ETF. Meta ETF holdings. So that that ETF owns Nvidia, Roblox, Microsoft, Facebook, and Unity as its top 5. Right below that, it owns a little bit of Amazon, a little bit of Apple, a little bit of Snap, a little bit of Matterport, a little bit of Sony, a little bit of AMD. That seems like a pretty freaking solid ETF. Meta, META. Once again, the top 5 in that are Nvidia, Roblox, Microsoft, Facebook, and Unity in that order. You know, like 20% of it is just Nvidia and Roblox, and then almost 30% is Nvidia, Roblox, and Microsoft. Not a bad basket. Any idea what happens to us DD investors if/when the stock gets delisted from the New York Stock Exchange? I believe that it is going to get delisted. I don't know if it's necessarily if. I think it is a when, I believe. And what would happen if it gets delisted? I don't want to give out false information, so I'll like research it for you. But one of two things: either if your brokerage, would it list, it'll probably get turned over to cash. If I had to guess, but I'll research that just to double check. What is getting delisted? DIDI. It's the ticker for the Uber of China. And it's not doing so hot. Matt, an AMC update. Yeah, it's going down like everything else. Unfortunately, AMC is down 8%. GME is down 5.8%. This movement, like, there's not something special about AMC and GME right now. There's not some sort of breaking news. The market's selling off, and AMC and GME are a victim of it. Unfortunately, we have to be a bit real and realize that below this 28.91, like this low from August 5th, that's a technical breakdown. Could it be a fake out breakdown? Yeah. But I am personally sick and tired of everyone just like lying to you and be like, no, this is perfectly fine. Like they like, speaking of everyone trying to like the government and regulators trying to gaslight us, I feel like influencers are trying to gaslight people about AMC and GME. It's selling right now. Can it catch itself and can it bounce? Of course it can. But if this were any other stock right now, I would say, see if it's actually going to hold below this. I would, if this were not the ticker, if I knew nothing about AMC, if you just showed me this chart from a technical analysis, I would say, okay, this broke through support. Let's see if it's going to close below it. Let's see if there's going to be considerable volume traded below it. Yesterday, it traded below it, but by the end of the day, it actually closed above it. We might be setting up for that again. But these people, I don't think they're like intentionally lying, but the result of what they're saying is basically they either are lying or they're completely oblivious and don't know about the market. This is from a technical perspective. We're below support. We want it to recapture support ASAP. Same thing with GameStop. GameStop broke below the support of 196, and right now we're at the next support of 167. We want to hold that. At a certain point, we have to be like realistic about these levels. I can point all these things out to you, but I also like well, I guess I need to clarify to everyone, do what's best for you, do what's appropriate for you. And this is not necessarily commentary on AMC and GME. Like, I guess it could be, but it's commentary on anything, crypto, on any of your other stocks, like whatever. Have your trading plan. I've articulated this countless times. I am not getting out of AMC. I am not getting out of GME, but just because I am or not doing something, I mean, what? I'm in that CRM play. That sucked. Like, you shouldn't be arbitrarily copying people on the internet. This concept of these like guru traders and copying them, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the market. Kelvin, my SPY puts printing, boy. Yeah, I mean, I hope people have been learning enough from watching me that you can make money in various ways. So people are keeping their portfolio above water by being smart and being agile. Right there, Kevin, making money on SPY puts. There's nothing wrong with that. No matter what the market's doing, up, down, or sideways, there's a way to make money. And this is what I find so particularly frustrating, is so many people have been beating it into other apes' minds of like, you're only an ape if you're exclusively in, like, all in AMC. Every single free cent in your life has to be AMC or GME or a combo of the two. I don't think that's a good way to engage in the market. I don't. I think it's good to even be diversified in the sense of, if you like those two, but like then you have extra capital to buy on dips. If you're just all in at once, what's that going to do for you? That doesn't make sense to me, because it means it doesn't make sense at all, because it, to me, means that you're missing out on other opportunities that could help you with your original opportunity. I think like the amount or even like the specific ownership of AMC and GME, in my book, and I'm not the one who gets to define that, I don't think it makes you an ape. I think an ape is a person who's just trying to improve the situation of their life, fight against the cards that you were dealt from the moment that you were born, and maybe like some specific interest in fighting for market transparency and fairness. If you're watching right now and you don't even own AMC or GME, but you're fighting for market transparency and fairness, I would consider you an ape. Once again, it doesn't matter. Literally, the amount it matters is 0% of who I consider to be an ape or not. But in my book, I think there's so much, I guess, like internet peer pressure and like juvenile fucking internet bullying of like, you got to have this stock to be an ape. You have to be all in. It's like, what? Aren't you here for market transparency and fairness? Aren't you here to make money? I think some of it is like warped. And I think for most of you, it's not warped. I just think the silent majority have better things to do with their day than argue with ding-dongs on the internet. So the people who go out of their way and like love internet drama and that type of fighting, it's a very loud minority, which is obviously extremely frustrating for the rest of us. But understand, if you find yourself in that silent majority and you're like, hey, I learned a little something about SPY puts and I made some money today on SPY puts, do not let anyone tell you that, like, what do you mean? You're playing something else? What? Good for you. I'm stoked you made money. I'm stoked. But Vanguard is only restricting AMC and GME. I don't know anything about Vanguard right now. I'm down 70% on Zach Morris's wish call. I'm not too familiar with like what his wish call is, but if you're down 70%, what was your risk? Like, did you have a well-defined trading plan? Even this, like, I don't know what Zach Morris's wish call is, but why'd you just arbitrarily follow him? That's not good. Like, you have to know why you're in the play, not reasoning. No one's reasoning should ever be, I saw someone on social media do it. That is such a bad way to trade and invest. That's a tipping time bomb. You got to be careful with that stuff, Joe. I'm not here for the drama. I'm here for the thick chicks. When do I get my Super Ape Award? I've never seen green since I bought it 71. I don't give an F. It was AMC or Marinara Wireless Hospital. Those tagging AA and influencers on Twitter demanding things be done are in it for the wrong reasons. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's why I like the ducks. We can't be tied to a single way of existence. No one knows our true purpose. China set to create new state-owned rare earth giant. What does that even mean? Seth, what does that mean? What's a new state-owned rare earths giant? Are they creating a giant? A rare giant? I need more information, Seth. Meme maker. Yeah, if we, I saw that. Or maybe, hang on, I need to see the timing of these things. Eder. Biden about to speak on the jobs report, not giving a time when he is going to speak. Well, whatever's being said is not the right thing. What else do we have? Bring back good vibes. They destroy retail with naked shorts. So many other malpractices. Come on, Matt, talk about that. So right now, the classic way we think of naked shorts, the very of like, oh, a hedge fund goes to a broker, they go short without it being reported. That classic one, not really showing up in FTDs right now. So I think it's actually a little bit more complicated. And I've alluded to this a little bit, but I think the malpractices that you're referring to are more likely found in the derivatives market than just like that classic hedge fund talks to a prime broker, they go short without locating the shares. I think they've really wised up to that, and we see that in the drop off in FTDs. Why is AMC down? Short story, because the whole market is selling off. I think sometimes people get like myopically focused on AMC or GME, and you have to realize that there's many other things at play right now. The movement you're seeing on AMC and GME, it's not good. It's bearish for sure, but it's prompted more so because of the overall market. I mean, look at this. The SPY is selling off, and the Russell selling off, and the Qs are selling off. Like it's just all selling off right now. There's extreme external forces at play, namely the SPY and the Russell. Is it true that Vanguard and Toots sold shares, then they wouldn't be available to short? They sold shares. What available to short? The new owner would be able, like, if the new owner is willing to lend out their shares. Remember, for someone like Vanguard to sell, they're selling it to someone. There's a new owner, and that new owner still has the same option of lending out the shares if they want to lend them out. This is very important, and it's a key axiom of the market and just really supply and demand. Every buyer has a seller. Every seller has a buyer. There's no way around it. There's even, I guess, like prominent people in these communities who just seem to not understand that like key axiom of how markets work. You don't buy from nothing. You don't sell into nothing. There's always another player on the other side of your trade. Always, 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 always. Might the other player involve like a synthetic share? Yeah, okay. But there's still another player on the other side of the trade. Apparently, Biden is speaking on Yahoo Finance. Is that true? Guess he's not speaking on my channel. Where are we? Let me try to find it. Yahoo Finance. Where are you? Where are you? Let me double check. He is speaking. Yeah, he's on Yahoo Finance for some reason. Not saying anything of interest. Yeah. Not really seeing anything there. Every seller has a market to buy from them. Every seller. What, Kinky Kong? Every seller has a market to buy from them. I'm not following that one, Kinky Kong. Every seller has a buyer to buy from them. Like that's what liquidity is. Liquidity is basically how easily people can get in and out of a position on the market. Liquidity is how built out the bid and the ask are, it's how liquid the stock is, how many people are like trading it right now. Someone said the new DD about Fidelity and Vanguard internalizing trades. I haven't seen that, but Fidelity and Vanguard are not market makers. Generally, when you hear that term internalizing, you're referring to like wholesale retailers, aka market makers, namely Citadel Securities and Virtu are like the top two. All right. Someone said, dude is drugged up. I wish. I didn't even take Dayquil yet today. Just bought puts on IWM. Now it will go with AMC. Gorilla Champ. I hope you crush it. What else do we have? Praying for a bounce. You and me both. You and me both. Every seller doesn't have a buyer. Look at the order imbalance history for AMC. That's not what order imbalance means. Every seller does have a buyer. Every buyer does have a seller. Every buyer has a seller. Every seller has a buyer. That's not what order imbalance is. Like, how could you buy from nothing? That doesn't make sense. Where would you be buying it from? That's not at all what order imbalance means. I mean, let's just think about that. If you buy from nothing, how's the price set? If you sell to nothing, if I wanted to sell Tesla to like nothingness at 4,000 right now, as it trades at 1,000, who says yes or no if it's going to trade there? Of course, every buyer has a seller and every seller has a buyer. There's no way the system would work without it. Dark pools are just a venue. Remember that. Lit exchanges are just a venue. Venues are where buyers and sellers meet each other. Buyers and sellers meet on a dark pool. They meet at an internalizer. They meet on a lit exchange. Venues are just where buyers and sellers meet each other. A dark pool is a type of venue. Sorry, I was being sarcastic about dark pools. Shout out Alpha Lima. Apparently Apex is saying that I'm on my period. Real apes, let's go. Apex, are you somehow trying to erroneously state that I'm not a real ape. You know, Apex Grind, it is very much people like you that, like, people don't like you. People don't like that attitude, like that dismissive, you're not a real ape. You're the reason that apes get turned away. Like, what's your definition of an ape? Very, like, Apex. If I'm not a real ape, what in the world is your definition of an ape? Like, holy Toledo. If I do not make your definition of an ape, literally who in the world is an ape then? Was the hot chip challenge harder than the sake hell you're going through? Yeah, the hot chip challenge, that like really hurts your stomach. At least my stomach. It was like notably painful. Silver lining, period equals not pregnant. Thank you. Apex. I just want you to know, a person who holds their convictions, what about my convictions have changed? That's your period. You know, even though you're in a weird way being disrespectful to women, I want you to know that I'm not banning you just because of that. I'm also banning you because I think you're stupid. So, bye. Look at me. Look at me. White knighting for all the women in here. No longer standing up for blaming women who are in moods for just being on their pyramid. Look at me. I'm white knighting the whole scenario. Oh, man. I think what's fun about this is whatever. I've already forgot the name. That's not good. But anyway, whoever that was, I'll be living rent-free in their head for days. They're going to be steaming, and I've already forgot. I actually feel a little bit bad about that. I feel like I should remember the name. It's just like, you can't be hating on women like that. Like, come up with a better dig. What was the name of this person? Now I have to scroll back. Apex Grind. Apex Grind. So I just kicked out some like gamer who like comes up with like crappy like women jokes. What? That was easy. His name was Dakota. Never forget Dakota. Matt, give us the Volkswagen. We're pretty off from the Volkswagen. I very much think AMC and GME is like considerably different than the entire Volkswagen scenario. That like involved like the government. It was a shorter period of time. That was a different can of worms. Real apes love canned peas. I guess if that's true, maybe I'm not an ape. If we can confirm that Harambe loved canned peas, that's not good. Thanks for white knighting my pyramid. Love you. Matt, a sacrifice must be made to turn the markets green. Also, I'm starting to think that stonks market isn't fair sometimes. Yeah, I'm starting to think that as well, that maybe the stonks market isn't. The V in Volkswagen must be pronounced the same as F in fire. Volkswagen? Is that true? I have some questions. Hey, coach, do you still trade futures? I do. Women don't need saving, Matt. Stop mansplaining. That's a good point. Here I am thinking I'm standing up for a good cause, and really I'm just making it worse from a different angle. Hey, Matt. So I have 100 shares on AMC. What are your thoughts on covered calls? I think just generically, if you're comfortable with a covered call strategy, it's a great, consistent income generator. I'm a fan of covered calls. Just make sure you're comfortable with like the mechanics of it, what it does or doesn't mean. The risk of it is limiting your profit. I'm a fan of covered calls. Where else are we? Where else? Can we please check or text on PTPI? Yes. Wait, I already did that, I think. Is that Pioneer PTPI? Yeah. Oh, wait. Petros. Hang on. Let me look it up. Different company. 27.33% estimated on Ortex for PTPI. But remember, just because something has a high short interest, that doesn't mean it's going to squeeze. It means it has the potential to squeeze, but you need other factors. How will we know when the AMC short's covered? To really know, at least for the legal legitimate shorts, it takes 2 days because of the settlement cycle. Price action wise, you're going to see buying because that's how shorts cover, especially if they all do it in like unison. You'll see like notable positive price action, but then to be like assured of it, you have to at earliest wait 2 trading days later because of the settlement cycle. Why don't you let your girlfriend shine? Oddly enough, my completely real girlfriend, and I know it's starting to get super suspect, she's out of town again. She left this morning. She's traveling. I wish people would come out of their microscope world of AMC and Jamie sometimes and enter the macro world of the whole market. The whole market is down, which means it's bound to recover. Just hodl. I think that's pretty sound advice. She goes to another school. Sure. All right, folks. It is 11 a.m. ET. I will be back for Power Hour. I will see you at 3 p.m. for Power Hour, and let's hope by then that the bloodbath is over. I'll catch you in a couple hours. Remember, calm, cool, collected. Don't let emotions run the day. Stick to whatever your trading plan is. Do not just be arbitrarily looking for the buy and sell signals of some trading guru and copying people. You need to develop your own skill set. You should be reliant on you. If you get ideas and education from various people out there, that's great. But at the end of the day, you're the ones creating the trades. Be confident and know why you're making the trades you are or aren't making. Stick to your plan. Don't let greed and or fear run the day for you. I will catch you in about 4 hours. As always, from me and Cher, best of luck in the markets.